If your beau shows up at a game, they have to come down to the locker room for a halftime kiss. It's good luck.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ball pitching tutor comes to your football game and gives you a smoochy poo at halftime, you're gonna win every time.
Hey there.
Hi.
Welcome to Say Smut, a literary podcast for readers and non-readers.
Thanks for listening today. That's Sarah, and she loves books.
And that's Hope. She loves talking to me about books. Each episode, I break down the plots of some pretty wild books to Hope, who has not read them. And I guarantee you, this day is no different.
No, I'm pretty sure I haven't read it.
Before we do, can I have a moment of silence for what just happened and what damage could have happened? What horrible atrocity could have occurred in this home?
Yes, let's start there. And then I have another order of business, and then I'm ready to talk about the book.
Okay, well, I just told Hope, but I'm still reeling over it. I left a candle burning in my office for 18 hours.
Oof.
And I shut the door to the office, which, by the way, has all of my books in it. 700 books.
It's so much paper.
It's so flammable. And look, I know the whole point of a candle holder should be to keep things contained, but it's also such a fucking risk. Anyway, I left my office last night, went to bed. I shut the office door so the cats can't get in here. So that probably saved my ass. But then I spent my whole day out in the living room. And then I came back here to record the podcast and was like, damn, it smells good in here. And then I look over and the candle is still fucking burning. So anyway, just really grateful for my luck today. This could have been a whole different type of an evening, but it was not. So, and plus I should also mention now that I live in a rental house that has painted windows that none of the windows in my bedroom open. So if there were to be a fire,
Awesome.
If there would have been a fire, this would have been an in memoriam episode.
Taken a hiatus.
We would have taken a permanent hiatus.
I'll be honest, I think you probably would have just never heard from me again.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay smutty for the rest of your lives.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, what is your order of business?
My order of business is also technically your order of business. Listeners who listen to the episode weekly will remember that last week Sarah and I had a really, really long conversation about her precious corded headphones.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because Madison was on
I
last
disappeared.
week.
So have you already spoken about this?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, listeners may remember that Sarah and I talked at length about her corded headphones that she was using while doing her garden work, and that she happened to have bent over and snipped them.
Yeah, I was snipping at a bunch of weeds, and I accidentally was going too fast, and I snipped my corded headphones.
Yeah, could you please tell the audience what you did a second time?
I literally had just ordered a new pair of headphones on Amazon that were $7, and I went right back out to the yard and immediately cut through them. I mean, the first bush I was working on, it was devastating. I literally stopped and stood and stared at this now fringed corded headphone and was like, are you fucking kidding me? And here's the thing. I texted Hope immediately and was like, you'll never guess what I just did. And she's like, oh no, what? And I was like, it's something I just did recently and it happened in the backyard. And she could not guess. And I was like, I
could not remember.
When I told you, you were like, are you fucking kidding me?
When Sarah told me, Austin, my husband and I had company over, and so I told them that you had done this, and then we pulled up the episode where Sarah and I talk about it, and we talked about this for such a long time in the original episode.
And here's the crazy thing, though. I do a lot of lawn work because I mow my lawn. I like to keep it clean. I had those headphones for years, years. I had used those headphones in the yard so many times. And then not only do I snip them, but I immediately snip the next ones.
And in the podcast where we talked about when you snip them the first time, we conclude being like, and next time we'll just put the cord behind our back. Well, if it still works, don't get cordless ones just get the same pair. Like,
so then I go to Target, and Target has all their back to school shopping stuff now. And I got some Bluetooth headphones that were like really cheap, and I can't hear anything in them when I'm mowing though. So now I'm like, well, this was fucking pointless.
Just else.
So if somebody has Rex, that would be so helpful.
What headphones do you like to use when you're gardening? Specifically using, I would say, pruning shears. What are your best anti-snip?
Anti-snip. That's how they have to be marketed.
Anti-snip pro volume headphones for Sarah. Rex, please.
I just got new AirPods. I just don't like the idea of sweating in my AirPods. So I don't even like use them. I only use them when I'm like grocery shopping, hanging out, working. Like, I do not use them when I exercise or anything like that because I don't like the idea of them being in my ears, and I'm a sweaty girl.
Yeah, I always got to push them back into my ear.
Yeah, I just don't like that.
That's fair.
So anyway, it's been a rough week to be Sarah.
Anyway, send us your book recommendations and headphone recommendations in your reviews of this podcast and to our email, saysmutpodcast@gmail.com.
I'll even buy from your Amazon storefront. I promise.
It's hard out here.
It's so fucking hard. Oh, okay. Anyway. Well, Hope, last week we had 4 crazy little critters. And if you haven't heard that episode, please go back and listen to it because it was a ride. I was really hoping Hope would be the one to be here to listen to it with me, but I pulled in a guest co-host. She, Madison, has been in previously. And I said to Madison, I'm so glad that she was subbing in for this one because the one previously was the desk lamp. And so I was like, how do I go up from here? And 4 bottles of sunscreen, 4 little bottles of sunscreen. It is exactly what she needed to hear about.
It's just what the doctor ordered.
It's just what the doctor ordered. But today I bring you a huge, important story.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to go down as like a pinnacle use of public domain.
Great.
Post 100-year limit. And I only know that because I went to journalism school and took media law. Right? It's 100 years.
It is 70 after the date of the author's death.
After the date of the author's death.
Okay. It depends on when it's published.
We'll get into that here.
We're gonna get into it.
So I had asked Hope to talk about public domain before we get into the topic, but I'm gonna spoil the title now.
That's fine.
Do you want to guess what it's about?
I'm going to assume that it's not about having sexual relations with the concept of public domain. I'm going to assume that it's some kind of great novel pulled from some sort of story that's in the public domain, like Pinocchio or Shakespeare or Steamboat Willie.
That is a great guess. It's far more recent than that, and I already see it's listed in your research because it's right at the top. This book is called Winnie-the-Screwed, Dracula and Pooh Bear by Luna Cantrip.
I'll talk about it when I talk about my research.
I'll let you get to your research before we get to the plot. But before we do, I want to give some content warnings. We obviously have sexual content, but we do have blood. A couple of references to blood. I'm not going to go super into detail, but I mean, it's Dracula. We're going to talk about blood.
That makes sense.
So if those are not your cup of tea, come back for the next episode. We'll have something just as spicy. On Storygraph, it has a 3.3, and on Goodreads, it has a 3.5. A little bit about our author. Luna is just another weirdo turning her love of cryptozoology into smut. She writes about big, soft cinnamon roll monsters falling into gross, gushy love. Her dream is that everyone finds the perfect hairy beast who will make us tea, read us a good book, and rip our enemies in half if we ask them to very nicely. When she's not When she's got writer's block, she likes to bake bread. She also lives in Kentucky with her husband, a cat, and another cat.
Oh.
So that is a little bit about Luna. Again, you can probably guess that we're going to hit Winnie the Pooh based on the Winnie-the-Screwed headline.
It would be crazy if we didn't.
Yes. So before we do, can you get into some of the public domain? Because I just love that there are so many things I feel like that are going to be entering or just entered the public domain, including Winnie the Pooh, and like The Great Gatsby just entered the public domain. So like now they're talking about a bunch of things around doing like a musical for that or like doing spin-off books. So I'll let you take it from here.
So welcome to, by absolute complete coincidence, because I did not know what book we are doing, because I, at this point, just don't know anymore. You don't even put the title into the documents anymore. My report is called Make Weird Winnie the Pooh Horror Movies with Help from the Public Domain. Hilarious.
Have you ever seen the Honey and Blood movie?
We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to get there. Thank you so much to Temple University, Stanford Libraries, Cornell University Libraries, the University of California, and License Global for all of the info I have in my research. What is the public domain? Sarah asked me to tell you. The public domain refers to creative works, so like songs, cartoon characters, stories, etc., that are not protected by what we would collectively call intellectual property laws. So if something has a copyright or a patent or a trademark, it means that that thing is owned by its creator or company or whoever owns it, and you can't just use it willy-nilly. So for example, you could not say put a Beyonce song and SpongeBob and an Indiana Fever jersey in your monetized YouTube video and then on merchandise that you're selling. You're going to get in trouble every single time. From Beyonce, Nickelodeon, and the Indiana Fever and the WNBA. If something is in the public domain, then that means that it isn't owned by anybody and can't be owned by anybody and is therefore usable to the public. There are several things that can make content enter the public domain. There's a lot of like, the public domain has a lot of like rules and like exceptions, not exceptions, but like, this applies unless this, in which case that thing's true. So I tried to keep it as like straightforward as possible. But if the copyright on something expires, then it can enter the public domain. The general rule of thumb is like there's like a lot of little rules, but things that are published in the United States before 1929 are in the public domain. For anything that is published between 1929 and March 1st of 1989, it depends, and I don't want to get into it. There's like a bunch of sub rules to figure out if it is or isn't in the public domain because of what laws were and weren't passed. Fair. Anything after March 1st of 1989 means any of those works will be protected for 70 years from the date that the author dies. Cool. So if the owner of the copyright doesn't renew the copyright or follow the renewal rules, that could also put their content in the public domain. If the creator just goes out of their way to like make something and put it in the public domain, like dedicate it to the public domain, like this is for everybody, no one can own this, then that thing is in the public domain. And then there are things that aren't protected. So like, obviously, if you, thoughts, ideas, and facts, things that don't have original authors, laws, you can't copyright stuff like that. There is a quote I got from Cornell that I would like to just kind of read because I think it explains this best. While a copy of a public domain works gains no new copyright, a circulated section of public domain works may have a new copyright protecting it. So like, say the original Winnie the Pooh book is public domain, but then like someone can go and make a collection or like add on to it, compile a bunch of stuff, and then that compiled version of those stories can be copywritten and then not used. Yeah, you could like still do Winnie the Pooh stuff, but like not in that exact way. It
kind of reminds me. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like, okay, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood like was a huge thing, right? And then they've now have Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood like as a new spin-off of that stuff. So I'm sure that you know, the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood stuff will eventually go into public domain, but then you can't use Daniel Tiger stuff just because that's based off of.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Examples of things that are in the public domain. This is also unintentionally incredibly relevant to the title of our book. The first thing I have on my list is Dracula by Bram Stoker, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, also in public domain, Steamboat Willie, as mentioned, The House at Pooh Corner, which is the original Winnie the Pooh book, All Quiet on the Western Front, Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, Peter Pan and Wendy. Those are all things in the public domain. And to round out my research, I just added this right before we started recording, which is extra funny. Have you heard of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Sarah has. She just asked me about it.
I have not watched it, though.
I have not watched it either. I did watch the trailer on IMDb, and I'm not going to describe it to you because I didn't write a full content warning.
Yeah.
But I will share the description from IMDb, which is, quote, after Christopher Robin abandons them for college, Pooh and Piglet embark on a bloody rampage as they search for a new source of food. So the original Winnie the Pooh stories, as I said, entered the public domain in 2022, and this film came out in 2023. Disney does still own copyright on its own version of Winnie the Pooh, so you can't like make it stuff with Disney's Pooh in it, but you can make this terrifying film with this looks like a Winnie the Pooh yellowy bear. Piglet just kind of looked like a scary pig and not at all like the character so much, like a realistic boar kind of, but Winnie the Pooh I thought looked like Winnie the Pooh. Anyway, yeah, you can make your own stuff as evidenced by the movie I just described to you and the book Sarah is about to tell us about.
Yeah. So this is actually from a series, and I can't figure out what else is in the series. For some reason, they're not linked together. But it's called Love in the Public Domain. That's what the series is called.
Amazing.
And if you remember when Nosferatu came out, it brought up the conversation again about how Nosferatu was kind of copyright infringement and stuff, because originally Nosferatu came out in like the first one came out in the 20s or something. So that was like pre public domain. And also it was a French film, and Bram Stoker's wife, right, widow, sued the people who made Nosferatu because it essentially was Dracula. They just made it way more sexual and like a couple like weird things about it. But it essentially was exactly the same thing. And she actually won that case. I'm probably fucking this all up. I'm doing it based on memory of when I went down a rabbit hole a few months ago when Nosferatu came out. But so if I'm wrong, please double check me. But I remember them talking about how like essentially they were supposed to get rid of all the Nosferatu films. Like they were supposed to destroy them all, and they couldn't because it had been so widely released at that point. How do you know exactly where they all are? And then obviously it just kind of snowballed, and then we got the Nosferatu we have from the last year, which I really enjoyed.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh, you should. You absolutely should. It's a great movie.
I really should.
I went down a rabbit hole I'm a big film person, and I went down a rabbit hole about how they shot the film because they used as much natural light as possible so that it would feel realistic instead of like so some of the scenes feel so dark you can't see anything because they're only using a candle on a little stand, and that's the only lighting they use. Like they did not use other lighting to try and make the place brighter. There's one scene where they're in a castle and all you have lighting the area is a fireplace. And so like if he is in the shadows, you can't see him at all. Like there's no seeing him. Anyway, so it's just a really cool movie overall. Sorry, this is a book podcast. Let me get back to the fucking point.
I don't like talking to you about movies, Sarah. I like talking to you about books.
Somebody is in their car right now and being like, shut the fuck up and get to the porn, guys.
I didn't come here to listen to you talk about movies. I came to hear shoddy research and the summary of crazy smut.
Look, you guys, I took a film class in community college.
I took one film survey class.
Look, I think it's a rite of passage. Everyone should take a film class at some point in their life.
We watched Do the Right Thing, and I cried uncontrollably for an hour after class.
Oh,
Mhm.
we did Deliverance. If you've ever seen that, have you? It's traumatizing. It's not something you want to watch. It's not something you want to watch in a group.
No.
And he always told us if the movie gets too like intense for you, you can walk out. I did walk out before we watched The Shining, and I watched The Shining for the first time a couple months ago, and I really wish I would have stayed for that one. But I wish I would have walked out of Deliverance. I literally was nauseous walking out. But I understand the lesson. I learned so much, and that was a community college class. When I took the Iowa State class, film class, I learned nothing. It was like a bunch of French films that didn't fucking matter. Whereas the other one was like Citizen Kane, Rear Window, like all the ones that you like genuinely think of.
We definitely also watched Rear Window.
Yeah. Well, like getting back.
Welcome to our book podcast. God damn it.
God damn it. Okay, 20 minutes into the podcast and we are ready to go. Okay. So I want to point out that this book is like, I want to say like 65-ish pages. Okay. And a lot fucking happens. It is a whole ass book. I kind of was like, this is too long of a book. Like
the 62-page book.
There are too many things happening. But I do want to disclose that the format of this book does have what we do not have enough of these days, which is chapter titles. I want more chapter titles. And I think we've been slacking off.
I agree. Look, I understand that when you have a dual perspective romance, it's easy just to name each chapter by the human being whose story we're following. But chapter titles are so funny and fun. What happened to chapter titles?
And the best part is a couple of books I've read lately that have chapter titles do it as like an out of context line, right? So something they say in that chapter, but they take it completely out of context and just like, make it the chapter title.
Not these crabs.
And
you just have to read the chapter to find out what that could be about.
When did crabs get brought up? Are they actual crabs? Are we at, Red Lobster, or are you getting crabs? What are the crabs?
We don't know. You got to, and that's the beauty of a chapter title.
That's the beauty of a chapter title. So that's what I first noticed when I started the book. But we open, actually, you know what? For all you bitches who are sitting in your car being like, why the fuck were you talking about college film classes?
We're going to talk about movies again. Bam, it's a movie podcast.
Guess what? It all is relevant because we open on a college campus.
Don't you feel silly?
Don't you feel so dumb now? You big dummy.
Duh, you know?
AKA me sitting here making that connection and not in the moment. Okay. So I know you're wondering what college we are at. We are at the South Midgard University of Sorry, I have the what?
Thaumaturgy?
Yes. Which, if you knew the initials I just told you, it is Smut. Because it's South Midgard University of Thaumaturgy. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was clever. I thought it was really funny. I hope you're already squiggling away at your notepad.
I have to take notes.
Okay.
This is a terrible podcast to watch on YouTube.
No, and that's why we don't upload anymore to YouTube. No, we do upload to YouTube. We do. I do have pimple patches on my face right now, so we won't upload this episode. We are not making me look gross on the interwebs for this. But you know who else has pimples? College students. They have I'm going to loop it back.
I thought you were going to say Jesus.
What? When did he open the chat? What?
No, because the entrance reminded me of like the youth pastor meme. Wait, it's about youth pastors trying to incorporate something like modern or funny into their talk.
You know who else has pimples?
You know who else had pimples?
Jesus.
I don't know if that's going to hit for people who were raised in religion, but for me, it hit just right.
Sorry, we just are clearly Midwestern kids who went to Bible camp. Okay, anyway. All right, so we open on a college campus setting, Smut University, which feels redundant for me to say Smut University's in the title. It doesn't matter.
You get it.
one of our main characters, as you probably have guessed, Dracula, has been waiting patiently in the library for his next tutoring student who is very late. He's like looking around. He's trying to like take stock of like who's in the library. He sees like a werewolf who's dead asleep at one table, and then a green-skinned student who's like watching a reality TV show called Treasure Trail Island on his laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like Love Island, I promise you.
Definitely different.
But there is no student that fits the description of his pupil in sight, okay? So Dracula has a booked and busy schedule. He is a PhD student, and because there are only so many hours in the night, he has to be really diligent about how he uses that time.
Obviously.
So he uses these tutoring jobs to help pay for his schooling. And he's kind of frustrated because he's like, okay, another stuck-up student who like doesn't actually take their schooling seriously. But a heavy hand sets on his shoulder and a low voice says, quote, "Hey there, sorry I'm a little late. Took a power nap and it got away from me." It's the kind of voice that makes you want to curl up with it and get cozy under a warm blanket. Sure. When Dracula turns around, he notices that a very large blonde man is standing there with a grease stain in the middle of his red football jersey and his yellow sweatpants cut off above the knee.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Do you have a picture? You know,
I know a picture of the character in Winnie-the-Screwed. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but I will say, maybe I'm changing my mental image of what this is like. But do you remember in Beauty and the Beast when the Beast goes back to a man?
Yeah.
I also kind of picture that because I'm pretty sure he's a blonde man.
Mm.
So I'm like, sure. That's a little bit the vibe because he's a man. Like he's not like a bear.
He's not like a tubby bear, not wearing any pants.
They are going through introductions, and we find out this man is named Winslow, but goes by Winnie. And he's got large, thick, muscular, like he's got like this big body, but it's got muscles underneath, right? But he's not like a toned 6-pack. Like he's like a bulky guy. Remember when SZA came out on SNL with that song Cuffing Season and everybody was obsessed with it? Yes. He is that song personified.
Great.
Okay. You know, he's a big boy. Dracula is not only admiring how perfect he is for cuffing season, but he's also wondering if his blood would taste like honey and if he gives sloppy blowjobs, which is like
for absolutely no reason particular. I wonder if this guy's tastes like honey.
I wonder if he tastes like honey and if he gives like sloppy head. Like that's what I wonder.
Because those two things go hand in hand. Most people who smell like honey give sloppy head.
Yeah. Well, the reason Winnie was sleeping so late is because he's a bear shifter. And he confirms that, you know, all those rumors you hear about bear shifters in the winter months, they're all true. And I know you've heard of them, Hope.
Yeah, it's that they taste like honey and give sloppy head.
Just in the winter.
Just in the
summer,
winter.
They don't give any sloppy head. Super clean.
Very dry, clean head.
The knowledge that Winnie is a bear shifter doesn't help Dracula's like erotic thoughts because apparently shifters have extra flavorful blood. So now I'm going to put another meme in your head, which is Dracula turns into that shot of Edward in the first Twilight when Bella walks into the classroom and he has to like, hold his nose.
Like one that looks like someone tooted nearby. Yeah.
Literally. Okay. I want to give you a little setting so you understand the context of this like urban fantasy we're living in. This civilization, there are obviously like stereotypes and historic feuds between groups of people, you know, nothing like in our modern day society. But like, you know, you might have preconceived ideas if somebody was like, I don't know, a bear shifter or you know, I was going to say a Dracula, a vampire. You'd be like, oh my gosh, you know, our species didn't get along for a really long time.
Right. Yeah.
But we've come a long way since that. It's not as prevalent as it used to
we're
be.
Imprinting on vampiric children, even though we're werewolves.
Yes.
We're all cool now.
Yes. And so Winnie like jokingly calls Dracula a bloodsucker and Dracula corrects him because that's not politically correct.
That's a slur.
So that is actually the worst thing you could have said to me. And Winnie like apologizes and he's like starts calling him Teach instead. Like, okay, teach,
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't explain this earlier. Well, I guess I'll get into it in a second. Never mind. The sexual tension between them is already lighting up. Like, not only because of like they're both hot and like the blood is alluring, but Winnie is like teasing Dracula for being so organized, and he like is explaining that he's always had a thing for nerds. He's like laying it on thick, right?
Right.
And Dracula's like
thick like honey.
Yeah, thick like honey. And he's like, he's probably just sucking up to me, sucking up to me. Thank you. But he's also like probably just a flirt. Like that's probably just his like, that's just the way Winnie is.
Winnie's just like that.
That's just such Winnie's way, especially in the winter. Everybody knows those bear shifter rumors. But they obviously study and they share some insight into one another, including that Winnie is a freshman and made it onto the football team. But he needs his science grades to go up or he won't be able to play. Dracula acknowledges how impressive it is that he got onto the team so young. And Winnie says, I don't know why I can't say anything. Winnie says, quote, yeah, hard to believe a little guy like me shoving my way into a field full of men, ramming full force into a tight end.
And giving sloppy head.
And I always give that sloppy head.
That's exactly how I describe plays in football as well.
Yeah, for sure. So he starts prodding Dracula to come to a football game, but that is like so not Dracula's scene, even though all the football games are on Friday nights, even though we all know football games are on Saturdays, not Fridays. But I guess you don't go to a D1 school.
Sometimes there's like one on a Friday.
All right. Well, you can tell that Smut is not a D1 school, is just what I'm saying.
Smut, which I have deemed in the Greek alphabet Sigma Mu Epsilon Tau.
It's actually a giant fraternity.
It's any Greek letter that looks like it would be Smut.
Precisely. But yeah, so he's like a jock and he's like trying to get, kind of his nerdy tutor to come to the game. And it's not long until Winnie kind of bets him into coming to a game if he gets a passing grade by midterms. Okay.
Cute.
And the game that he wants him to come to is the homecoming game.
Obviously.
And Dracula's like, fine, if it makes you, focus on the work and you get your head down and you do, that sloppy head down. And
you get that sloppy head down.
I will stop making sloppy head jokes. I promise.
I will not.
But Winnie takes this challenge. He's a competitive guy. He's a jock. So now you can start the montage of them studying, for weeks.
Right. Slowly falling in love, maybe.
Yeah. And after weeks of them studying, Winnie is getting a better grade. But it's not even it's not that midterm time that he had kind of created as the deadline.
Right. It's too soon.
Yeah. It's a little too soon. But he's getting these better grades, but he's not quite at the grade point he wants to be at. Sure. This is kind of a big question mark to me because he doesn't at this point tell us, is it a passing grade or is it just you wanting a higher grade than like a C average? Right. I don't understand what we're looking for. But anyway, we're now looking at it kind of from his perspective. And his tutor is hot, yes, but he also is really patient and he's really kind and he's super smart. And Winnie is really into that.
Nice.
So, Dracula has a lot more going on in his life and going for him after graduation than Winnie does. The best Winnie could do is, go home and run his dad's party store business.
Not the party store business.
But Winnie wants to go show off his latest grade to Dracula. So he heads over to his, I guess, dorm room of some sort. He just says room. But and he just decides to walk in without knocking.
Crazy move, but sure. Some would call it breaking and entering.
Yeah. Can you guess what's going on
Is he jorking it?
He sure is.
I knew he was going to be jorking it.
Dracula is jorking it at the desk, which wild for anybody to be sitting at their school desk.
Locking it. The door. At least.
So he's jerking it to pornography playing on his computer screen. And Dracula screams like, shut the fucking door. You know, he's like yelling at him. And
Hey,
so
I'm jerking it in here.
And Winnie just like takes that not only as like a, okay, I'll shut the door, but he like steps inside and then
I'll come in and shut the door. I'll join you in here.
Yeah, Dracula's like, I mean for you to also be behind the door. And like Winnie knows that, but he just can't resist. And while Winnie can't see Dracula's penis at this angle, he obviously knows what's going on, right?
I mean,
yeah. Also, there's something about, you know, this uptight vampire being so disheveled that is like really getting to Winnie. He's like, this is like the perfect scene for me to walk in on. He starts kind of coming on to Dracula. And Dracula, by the way, has now shut the computer. He's like, Winnie doesn't know what he was watching. But Dracula is like, this is wrong. I'm not going to do this with you right now. You're my pupil. But he's also not telling Winnie to leave anymore. Sure. Internally, Winnie says, quote, I don't want to scare him off by being too forward. Not when I feel so close to getting what I want. A hot nerd boyfriend. I love that he's like, I don't even just want his dick. I want his heart.
I'm here for commitment.
I am here for commitment. He's like, I came to not get the MRS degree from college. No. I came to get the HNB, the hot nerd boyfriend.
I came for an HNB.
Yeah. Externally, Winnie is like, you're so cute when you blush. What were you watching? And I don't know why I just made him a Valley girl. But Dracula says, you wouldn't like it. And Winnie is like, I like a lot of things. Why don't you show me? But Dracula is still resisting. And finally, Winnie says, quote, I just wish that you would trust me, but I understand if I'm not what you want. No, I don't really want to show you my pornography history, okay?
I guess you don't have to show me your pornography.
But Dracula also reminds him that there's a power in difference, right? Like,
that is true.
He's the tutor.
I'm a graduate student tutor.
Yes. And Winnie reminds him that he doesn't really control his grades, so it's not ethically bad. Like, you don't grade my shit. You just are tutoring me. And Dracula is like, well, I thought you were just flirting with me to flirt. Like, I didn't think you were serious about it.
I didn't think you were looking for a hot nerdy boyfriend.
HNB. So Dracula opens the laptop. It's two men getting it on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hot vampire and a big, hunky blonde shifter.
How convenient.
I know. You know, the internet has everything
How
for
specific.
Everyone. But the thing that's really interesting about this is that the vampire is drinking the blood of the shifter.
Uh-huh.
And it's super horny, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, Winnie has questioned a lot of things about his sexuality over time, including interspecies sex, which amounts to, can you become a vampire if you're bitten by one during sex?
Great questions. Specific questions about sex with a vampire.
Yeah. And the answer is not in a small dose. So if you just get a little bitey bite, if you get a little nibble, you're fine. You know,
but
it
what
takes
about
a lot more.
Several over time if they have a long-term relationship?
Well, but again, small doses. You can keep doing it. It's just small doses. You can't do it all at once.
Okay. Just want to make sure there's not a cumulative effect.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Dracula would put him at risk like that. You'll see. They're both big softies. That's all Winnie needs to hear before saying that they should watch the porn together.
Great. Well, I'm glad that it was something that worked for both of them off the bat, like pals.
You know, like pals. Good
like
pals.
tutor student pals.
Yeah. I did that all the time with my tutors. Sorry, I did not. I never had a tutor. Anyway, so Winnie's like, well, you're going to watch it anyway. So why not watch it with me? And I could list off a lot of reasons not to do that.
Yeah, so many different reasons why that's a bad idea, but.
So they both whip their dicks out, and Dracula says internally, quote, I'm finally seeing the pot of honey at the end of his happy trail.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Within the same page, he says, quote, "He's the only man whose smile makes me want to be a better person." And I'm like, that is so many facets.
Whoa, that developed so fast. From
He-
this would be so inappropriate because I'm your tutor to also your smile.
Your smile makes me want to be a better person.
Makes you want to be a whole better person.
So they're going to jack each other off, right?
Great.
Including a little finger fun in the butt, and some pinching of balls, which sounds horrible, but I also do not have balls.
Careful and specific.
Yeah.
And not just like, ha, got him.
Got him.
Look, pinch, got him.
But surprise for the audience, Winnie is kind of a dom. He's like taking control of the situation. He's
the air shifter is a dom.
And he's like demanding Dracula say what he wants out loud. I mean, yeah. And like every good dom, Winnie cleans them both up at the end. But they literally just give each other hand jobs. Yeah. Like, anyway, Dracula really doesn't want Winnie to leave, but it's Friday night. So you know what that means.
Football.
Yes.
This is a not Friday normal night. College, so it means there's football. It's a
yes. It's not a D1. It's not a college that matters.
It's a high school college, and football is on Friday night.
It's a high school college in Texas, clearly. So using his newfound dom powers, Winnie orders him to come to the game.
He's like, come to the game.
Because he's like, I have a surprise for you at the game. I want to remind you that this is not the midterms yet.
No, like, it's not even the midterms yet.
We moved up the timeline tremendously.
The grades got so good so fast.
Yes. But he gives him a little forehead kissy kiss. And I'll make sure to note now that they have not had their first on the lips kiss yet. Okay?
Yeah.
Just handies and a forehead kiss. And a little pinch to the balls.
A little pinch to the
and
balls.
A finger up the butt. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they've done.
Like friends.
Like good pals do. Oh my God. Okay. Dracula never really thought of himself as a sports fan, but he tries his best by like dressing up in a school color and dark jeans. And it's not until he gets to the stadium when he realized that like maybe he's in to enjoy a really nice evening because there's blood and sweat in the air, and Winnie's got on some really tight pants, and he's kind of like, why have I never come to one of these before?
It's sort of insane you didn't think about it before now.
Winnie is clearly good at football, and everybody in the crowd loves him. So now Dracula is getting kind of self-conscious. This will be a theme that comes up so many fucking times in these 65-ish pages that he's like, oh my God, he's so popular. Oh my God, he has so many fans and friends, and I'm just not that kind of guy. So like, I'm going to let you know it pisses me off. Okay.
Yikes. Okay.
So he kind of says like, why pick him when Winnie could have any of these people to jerk off to porn to? You know, like he could be watching porn with any of these people.
He could be jerking off, putting his finger in a butt, pinching a ball, and giving a forehead kiss to any number of tutors on this campus.
During halftime, he's like so in his head by this point.
Forgotten about the surprise.
And a guy made of wood skin comes up the field and jumps into the bleachers to find Dracula.
Horrifying.
He's like, he just comes straight up to Dracula and is like, are you Dracula? Out of this whole sea of students. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, Pooh asked me to come and get you. You have to come with me. And so he's like, you got to come to the locker room for good luck. According to the wooden guy, quote, it's good for team morale.
I don't know what the fuck college this is, because I know for a fact that if I tried to go to the locker room at an Iowa football game, I would get arrested.
This is not a D1 school. We have established that.
Arrested. They would put me in Kinnick jail, which exists, and I've seen it.
I can assure you that the small Christian college in my hometown would have absolutely let anybody into the locker room. There are probably stray children who go in there all the time by accident.
Crazy.
Okay. So when the doors to the locker room open, everyone starts cheering. And Winnie is so hyped to see Dracula. Like, Winnie comes out into the hallway, and then like kind of the doors like shut behind them. So they are kind of now in privacy. And he was like, yeah, I told Pinocchio to go get you. And despite Winnie being the one asking Dracula to come, Dracula says, I have something to tell you.
Since when?
I would be asking a million questions of what the fuck am I doing here? But he informs him that some guy named Frankenstein is going to take over Winnie's tutoring because he shouldn't have someone teaching him who is so conflicted about their feelings. To which Winnie says, quote, you don't want to be my little whore taking it up the ass while I'm paying you?
I can't. You mean to tell me when you say that Frankenstein is going to take over my tutoring because you don't think someone with conflicted feelings should tutor me, that you don't want to take it up the ass and be my little whore?
You're telling me that you don't want me to give it to you up the ass and call you my little whore while I actively pay you?
What I'm hearing is you're emotionally conflicted with our relationship, so you don't think you should be my tutor. And what I'm hearing is I don't want you to screw me up the ass and I want to be your little whore.
But I mean, he is paying.
That's fair. Look, yeah, do it for free. He's like, I'll do this. Is this next line, I'll do it for free?
He was like, well, if you're offering, he's like, I do need to pay for my PhD. And I'll take it any way I need to pay for it. Winnie then kisses him on the lips for the first time. And in fact, they really just make out in this hallway. Okay. And unfortunately, Winnie has to get back to the game. So he's got to go, which is deeply confusing to me because at this point.
What was the surprise is you're going to come to the locker room and suddenly have something to tell me.
Yes. So I was like, what the fuck? So I went back and reread the whole segment because I was like, did I miss something? But don't worry. I should have just fucking kept reading because he's like, I'm like, why is the team so psyched to see Dracula? What the fuck just happened? And I guess Dracula is also like, wait, why did you bring me down here? And Winnie's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, it's a silly superstition with the guys on the team. And he's never really gotten to participate until today. And Dracula's like, what is this superstition? Quote, if your beau shows up at a game, they have to come down to the locker room for a halftime kiss. It's good luck.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ball pitching tutor comes to your football game and gives you a smoochy poo at halftime, you're gonna win every time.
Every time. He goes on to be like, I'm already telling people about us. I hope that's okay since you showed up to the game.
The progress of this relationship is insane.
Again, it's only been a few hours.
And I've been watching Love Island for weeks now.
You mean Treasure Island Love or whatever we started?
Treasure Island Love Monster?
Yeah. Dracula sees this as the biggest green flag, even though he clearly has confidence issues about being such a nerd dating such a jock. In fact, Winnie is so determined to make Dracula understand how invested he is in their relationship because he can see that he's like their interaction. He's like clearly self-conscious, that he turns and walks into the locker room, like with him in hand, where all the team is, and yells, guys, this is Dracula. He and I just made out. And the whole room breaks into a chorus of catcalls.
They're like, yeah, the good luck.
But Winnie doesn't stop there. He says, quote, after we win this game, he and I are going to screw. And the whole room just gets louder with cheers.
And Dracula's like, we are?
Dracula's like, what the butt?
New to me.
Sloppy head? What?
Dreams are coming true all over the place.
I mean, okay. How would you react if your, I guess, new boyfriend of 4 hours or whatever you want to say just announced it to his locker room?
I mean, obviously, I would be really embarrassed to even be in the locker room in the first place. So,
absolutely. Well, Dracula is on cloud 9. Anyway, he escorts Dracula back out of the locker room, and he's like, "Oh, remember when you thought I was going to be embarrassed of you? Are you embarrassed of me now? Like, since I like made such a fool of myself so like quote unquote.
Publicly to the team.
And of course, Dracula is just blushing. And of course, he's not embarrassed. So he promises to meet Winnie after the game in a little wooded grove outside the stadium because Winnie has something to show him.
That dick
would give me pause after the last fucking surprise Winnie had.
And also, this is simply because I've watched the Blood and Honey trailer. Now I'm afraid that you're going to get murdered.
He's like, you can't leave me now.
Can't leave me now.
I've made us football locker room official.
You will be my hot nerdy boyfriend forever.
Yeah. Hot nerdy boy.
Forever.
Hot nerd boyfriend, I think was the acronym.
Forever.
So I think it's important to note, though, for the audience that Winnie will say, oh, honeycomb, instead of saying like, oh, shit, or oh, God. Yeah. So just keep that in mind during moments of passion.
You'd forget that he was a bear shifter.
Yeah,
based on Winnie the
possibly. Pooh. After the Smut Hounds, which is literally the way you took a drink and then I immediately tell you that.
And I'm so mad because I didn't think... I started working on my my Greek letters for this university very early.
Yeah.
And I didn't really assume we'd necessarily get into the semantics of the university, for example, its mascot.
They have a football team. They have
I know. Well, I know now. I just wrote "oh magic" because I was like, thaumaturgy is magic.
Well, they're the hounds.
They're the hounds.
Anyway, they win the fucking game. Dracula is waiting in the woods for a while before he hears a rustling. The smell of a shifter is in the air. And out of the dark comes a large grizzly bear on its hind legs. But Dracula says, quote, it's my Pooh Bear. I would know him no matter what form he takes. You guys have been together for what, 7 hours maybe by now? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Look, everything's going so fast, but when you know, you know.
Well, after Winnie shifts back into his human form, just to, he just had to show off his little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
good.
his other bod. And I know you're curious. Yes, he is naked after shapeshifting.
But he's wearing a tiny red t-shirt.
But no pants.
No.
He's completely Pooh bearing it.
He is. It's just a shirt, no pants.
I recently this is terrible. If you know me, please skip ahead. I recently told one of our friends that I knew somebody who Pooh beared around after the shower, and she was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "It means that they wear a top but not a bottom."
Yeah, I think it is more frequently referred to as Donald ducking.
See, I've never heard that. I've always heard Pooh bearing.
I mean, it's all animals not wearing any pants.
Yeah, that's just no pants. Anyway, okay, so he's back in human form. Dracula asks, is that what you wanted to show me? And Winnie was like, oh, no. Look. And then he pulls out his grades from his science class, which is apparently a 68%, a passing grade. Which, again, I want to remind us.
We're not at the midterms. So it's all up, it's only up from here, right?
Precisely. But earlier in the evening, he was going to his room to show him the grade that he was not happy about, which makes me so confused because I'm like, so you weren't happy about the passing grade?
I wanted to show you that it's not high enough and I'll get better with time.
And you make me better every day.
Your smile makes me want to be a better person.
Your sloppy head makes no, sorry, they haven't gotten that far yet. Nonetheless, Winnie wants to show proper appreciation to his tutor for such the stellar work. Okay. So, how do you feel about getting naked and having sex with your brand new boyfriend of a few hours for the first time on the ground of a wooded area behind a football stadium?
Where else would I have it?
Just the small grove.
Where else would I have it but the small grove beside the stadium where my favorite smut hounds have just won?
I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you.
I've never met you before.
I don't know about you.
Who are you?
Who are you? Why are we here? Both of our university football stadiums are kind of in the center of a major city.
Ours is right next to a beautiful and iconic children's hospital.
Yes.
Something of note.
So I'm a little like, where the fuck is your stadium that you have a small grove just next to it?
Look, we already know that they're just letting anybody come into the locker room. I've just pictured this to be a high school sized football stadium.
Also, how did Pinocchio have the keys to the locker? Like, how is he allowed to go back? I want to know,
what authority does Pinocchio have?
Is he assistant coach? Is he, I don't know, a water boy? What is it? Okay, whatever. They are having foreplay, getting naked. And Dracula outlines all of the attractive areas on Winnie's body that a vampire would like. You know, like nice places to fucking bite it.
Neck.
Yeah.
Wrist.
Neck, wrist. Any
Mostly
shallow skin.
Mostly neck and wrist, but possibly an ankle if you got, I don't know.
Yeah, get behind the knee. Get real fancy.
Behind the knee. That's a good one. Up it, like where you donate blood. People don't think of that so much, but just get right to the source.
So Winnie is giving Dracula head. That sloppy head.
That sloppy head.
He starts to realize that maybe this isn't all just lust. Maybe... Sorry, this is from Winnie's point of view. I should have emphasized that when I said he starts realizing.
Sure.
But this isn't just lust. Maybe they're mated. In fact, he knows they're mated.
IYK. If you know, you know.
I mean, how are we going to have a bear shifter book without having mates?
You got to. Someone's got to be mate.
After this revelation, while he's still giving that head, he says, quote, "Suddenly, this feels like an interview for a job I plan to do for the rest of my life."
That's so much stress.
That is also a crazy HR violation.
That's all. I've got a lot of concerns. What job interviews are you going to Where have you been
He's
applying?
A freshman in college. He doesn't know high school.
I assume every adult job interview is like this because I've never had one before.
Absolutely not. Once Dracula has gotten off, Winnie is eager to offer a drink from his neck. And when Dracula bites him, it's the most horny feeling both of them have ever had. And after that, kind? Yeah, and after that little snack, he informs Winnie that drinking blood shortens his recovery time, so now he's already hard again.
Hell yeah, no refractory period. Let's go.
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
Look, I'm not one to tell a vampire how their anatomy works.
You think that's too convenient? That's your problem.
When Winnie asks Dracula if he's ever bottomed before, Dracula responds with, quote, "Winnie, I'm 500 years old. I've done everything before."
Okay, well, I'm just asking first.
Also, what the fuck? We got an age gap? Like a 500-year age gap? We just dropped in on this story?
I didn't want to assume, but he is a vampire.
He is, but like we never mentioned it fucking before. I just think that's important.
Everyone assumed. We all assumed, and he just wanted to confirm to you that, yeah, he is so old.
He is very old. Dracula then reaches for his jeans where he has a small bottle of lube and tells Winnie that he's had lube in his pocket since their first tutoring session just in case.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane thing to say.
Absolutely insane. After just a few hours ago, you were yelling at him to get out of your room and how inappropriate of a relationship it was for Winnie to infer they should get together.
You know what? Again... If you know, when you know, you know.
So after properly lubing and prepping and stretching the area, Dracula moans, quote, "Please fuck me, Winnie-the-Screwed bear." Because we had to get the title in. You know what I mean?
Bear, Winnie-the-Screwed bear.
Trademark it, copyright it right now.
I actually think we specifically can't trademark or copyright that. I think that's tied to Disney.
Or at least tied to Luna now that she's written Winnie the Screw.
And I don't even want to take away from this smoke. It's so good.
So once he's inside, Winnie responds with, quote, "Holy honeypot, Teach. Your ass is amazing."
Holy honeypot, Teach.
And it's so amazing that his paws and claws start coming out, but just those.
Sure.
Not his other
Not his dick.
Not his bare body parts. It's just the paws and claws.
Just the paws and claws.
After the most incredible mating of all time, Winnie...
So it is a mating.
It is. Well, okay, we'll get into that here in a little bit. Winnie realizes he accidentally scratched Dracula with his claws, but a little bit of blood does not bother the man. And in fact, the whole thing was better than his wildest dreams.
Wow.
And now they're cuddling in the dirt. And
hot.
My pH levels could never. But again,
my just regular sensibilities would prefer not to. But I'm not a bear shifter. And so that's my problem.
Winnie is like, I want to do that 100 more times. And I want to take you home to meet my parents. And still, Dracula is like, you'd want to date me?
Brother, come on now.
Not only did you just take it up the ass, but he just said he wanted you to meet his parents.
What? He wants you to meet his parents.
Dracula literally has to ask him if they are boyfriends in order to fully understand.
Ugh, we're engaged, actually. It's been almost 24 hours.
We are full and properly married, civil union style, okay?
Yeah.
So the two of them are living in couple bliss, and when the big game comes around, the real big game,
extra big game,
the real one after midterms, Dracula is in the stands with his boyfriend's number painted on his chest. He's like a full throttle groupie now, okay?
Obviously.
And of course, he goes to the locker room during halftime to smooch his man, right? Mm-hmm. Which I thought was just a first time thing, but I guess they just keep doing it.
Now you have to.
And after the big game, because that's the only way they refer to it,
as a big game. It's like when people talk about the Super Bowl, but you can't say it, or like
the big game.
So you have to call
it the game the other night.
The big game.
Like,
did you see that?
Everyone knows which game we're talking
halftime per show. The big game.
Yeah. After the big game, Winnie wants to go to a frat house for a party, which gives Dracula some pause because he like wants to go and support his boyfriend after the big win, but he also is kind of an introvert, right? So while they're in some fratty basement, Dracula starts getting self-conscious again because, you know, these places are not made for vampires like him. And Winnie is just like so good with, you know, socializing. He has so many friends. Everyone likes him. So Winnie takes him into a random bedroom of the frat house. And while Dracula is in his feels about not being enough, again, his boyfriend is listing off all the things he loves about him.
I mean,
and he still is in his feels.
Okay, well, you can only do so much for self-confidence.
I know. It quickly turns into a sex fest, but I want to emphasize they don't have sex on the bed. In fact, Winnie holds both of their dicks in one hand and jerks them off while Dracula is drinking his blood. And when they finish everywhere, Winnie says, quote, "Oh, bother." We had to throw it in at some point.
You had to throw it in.
We had to throw it in. The post-sex convo is that they agree to not always go to parties together because Dracula is used to being a solitary creature and Winnie loves hanging out with his friends, and maybe they don't always have to be together.
I'm really glad we solved that complete non-issue.
In my mind, this book should have stopped after the sex fest in the forest, but we went on. We kept going. We kept creating problems that didn't need to be there.
Make the relationship feel longer.
Yeah. The post-sex combo, like I said, they decided on this thing, and they now cut to the next scene where Winnie essentially barges into Dracula's room and asks him to come home with him for winter break to meet his family.
Wow.
It takes Dracula off guard, reasonably.
Except not reasonably, because Winnie did tell you he wanted you to meet his family.
Yes. It's been clear for a few scenes now that Winnie has been trying to coax him for an "I love you." Okay. Like even during that sex scene at the frat house and stuff. Yeah. But now he just straight up says, "Do you love me? Because I love you."
Cool. Playing it super chill.
Winnie doesn't ever get nervous. So this is like really surprising to Dracula that he's kind of flustered. And internally, Dracula admits that he's been in love a dozen times in his life.
Only a dozen?
This time it feels solid and comfortable, which is another like, okay, I guess that you're 500 years old, but you've been in love how many times?
Just a few.
Just a couple.
Only a couple times.
Dracula freaks out at this information. And I'm a little like, why? This man has been simping so hard over you for so long.
He just keeps telling you how much he likes you.
Anyway, it doesn't end up terrifying him though. But the thought kind of settles and he realizes that it feels like the right way to Sorry, I skipped an entire bullet point. I apologize. Before Dracula can actually respond to the I love you, Winnie just says, quote, "The first day we met, I thought you might be it. I thought you might be my mate," which is insane again, because I thought we didn't realize that we were mates until we were fucking in the forest.
Agree. But what do
apparently,
I know? Not my experience.
No. So Dracula is obviously freaking out and he realizes that actually that's a perfect way to label the way that they feel about each other. And Winnie says, quote, "Because I already know you're completely in love with me too."
Why did you ask if you already know?
Why did you even fucking ask me?
Also, how do you know?
Dracula responds by saying, quote, "My whole soul needs you, Winnie. My heart beats faster when you are near. I want to spend every waking moment with you. You might have to force out the rest." So Winnie does anal on him to force out the rest. And after they had anal sex, Winnie says, quote, "What of it, vampire?" And Dracula says, quote, "I'm not sure, Bear. You might need to try a few more times." And after some teasing back and forth, Dracula finally says, "I love you, you silly old bear. Of course I want to be with you. I'll come home with you every holiday for the rest of our lives."
And now they're married.
The end.
The end.
How do you
Now
feel?
they're married. Well, now I feel like they're married.
Well, I mean, I think they were married the first time they met.
I think they've been married the whole time.
I think he's been holding an engagement ring in his pocket, just like Dracula's been holding that lube in his pocket since the first
time that you tutored me, I knew we were going to get married. Even though I wasn't sure if we were mates. But I wasn't.
But I wasn't.
What a treat.
How do you feel?
Good.
Wasn't that a lot for like 65 pages?
It kind of kept going at times when I really thought we surely had reached the end.
No, I kept checking the page count because I kept on being like, this is surely the end. And then we'd have like 20 more pages. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense.
More.
So obviously this is a male-male romance. Love to see it. Interspecies romance.
Interspecies male-male romance. Great.
Super gay. What are you going to give the plot?
So much happening. I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 4.5 because there was a lot. But again, I come back to it should have probably chopped off sooner. And I felt like the timeline, when an author gives us a timeline like that and then doesn't follow the timeline, it's like, why'd you even give that to us? You know, why did we even do that? Okay, Smut, I'm going for 65 pages. We did 2 jerk off sessions and 2 anal sessions. That's 4 sexual encounters.
Yeah. Dracula had lube in pocket. That's
a
lot. He was ready. I'll give it a 5 too.
Great. In our document is going to be our cover. Would you mind sharing with our audience what it looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the background bookshelves, we can assume a library. At the top, all caps, Luna Cantrip. In the foreground, we have a really buff, shirtless man.
Yeah.
We know he's a vampire because he's got fangs and a widow's peak.
For sure.
Behind him, a golden colored bear.
And like the most crazy hue of gold.
An entire bear that seems to have the filter color yellow that Winnie the Pooh is over it.
Yes.
Because there are sun bears that are yellow, and this is not that.
No,
which is fair because those are a little terrifying, in my opinion, to look at.
This is like crazy saturation.
Yeah. It says in all caps, Winnie-the-Screwed, Dracula and Pooh Bear, an college romance, love in the public domain.
You
And
should
that's the
also
cover.
note that behind them are shelves, like
Yes,
library shelves.
Yeah, I said
Oh, I'm
bookshelves.
sorry. I might have missed that when I was focused on the fucking cue of the bear.
You're like, what a goldenrod colored bear.
Look, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. This is a great. I don't know what more of a cover you would want from a book like this.
I'll give it a 5 too. It's great.
Did I bully you into giving it a 5?
Yeah, so that's okay.
No. What do you want to give it?
A 4.
Give it a 4.
I'll give it a 4.
What's the holdup? I'm curious.
I don't know. It's just kind of how it hit me. I was just like, yeah, great.
Okay. Well, this time I actually have a higher grade than you do. I have a 96 and you have a 86%. To round us out, what are your Say Smut moments from the book?
The thing that made me say Smut the most is the entire name of the university.
Oh, you're gonna be stuck on South Midgard University.
South Midgard University of Dermatology.
Yes.
Go Smut Hounds. Yeah.
Smut Hounds.
I mean, and obviously I would be more affected by the speed of this relationship had I not just spent the last month watching Stanford Project or Stanford Prison Experiment Island. Love Island. Love Stanford Prison Island.
I skipped over it, but there is one scene where he's laying on Dracula's bed watching the show and being like, oh my gosh, they should totally end up together. Blah, 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 like talking about the reality show dating.
They're like, Amaya Papaya is my favorite.
I have to say the mates, I think I was just so focused on like the urban fantasy of it all that I was really thrown off by like the mates being thrown in during the blowjob. And then him having the lube since the first day.
Just in his pocket, just in case.
The entire locker room situation.
That was really interesting. It was making enough sense, and they were like, the tradition is your boo comes and they kiss you and it's good luck, and they're like, yeah, but then when he was like, and we're gonna fuck after this, that was awesome. I was like, oh, no. Is that part of the good luck that you have to say that?
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so. Also, the fact that they go to this party and have this, like, all of the fucking insecurity from Dracula, because if I'm going to be honest, like, Pooh pursued the fuck out of Dracula. Dracula had nothing to bring to the table, I feel like, in this story, other than being
insecurity, but also being a hot vampire nerd boyfriend candidate,
I guess.
Which is, and tutoring skills, Sarah.
Okay, he's so smart, he's so patient, but we didn't see that on the page because we did the montage.
True.
Anyway, all right, anything else we missed?
No.
I think we've got it all. Well, that is our book for the day. You can find us, if you so choose, on TikTok or Instagram at saysmutpodcast. Additionally, we'd love to hear your book recommendations. Send those our way via email at saysmutpodcast@gmail.com. Pop us a rating or review on the podcast platform of your choosing and rate us based on, how we do, not necessarily the book.
Yeah.
Don't do it by the book.
Or specifically do it by the book, because I don't think I want to be personally rated on the internet.
Or if our rating is going to be lower than the book, just do it based on the book.
Yeah.
Whatever comes highest.
Whatever gives us the highest rating, go with that route.
And in the meantime, stay out of the woods.
In the meantime, I just wanted you to know that your smile makes me want to be a better person.
Oh, I thought we already talked about that. I thought you already knew we were mates.
I'm just reminding the greater audience that that's true for them too.
That's good.
All of your smiles, which I definitely see, make me want to be a better person.
And always carry lube.
Also that, keep that lube in your pocket.
Stay smutty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.